An overview of cultivation in Buddhism Cultivation. In Buddhism is to lead a religious life. Cultivation in Buddhism is to put the Buddha's teachings into practice on a continued and regular basis. Cultivation in Buddhism also means to nourish the seeds of Bodhi by practicing and developing precepts, dhyana, and wisdom. Thus, cultivation in Buddhism is not solely practicing Buddha, recitation or sitting meditation. It also includes cultivation of 6 paramitas, 10 paramitas, 37 aids to enlightenment, and cultivation right in daily life activities. Sincere Buddhists, especially lay people, should always remember that time is extremely precious. An inch of time is an inch of life, so do not let the time pass in vain. Someone is thinking, I will not cultivate today, I will put it off until tomorrow. But when tomorrow comes, he will put it off to the next day. He keeps putting it off until his hair turns white, his teeth fall out, his eyes become blurry, and his ears go deaf. At that point in time, he wants to cultivate, but his body no longer obeys him. Sincere Buddhists should always remember that living in this world, we all are like fish in a pond that is evaporating. We do not have much time left. Thus ancient virtues taught. One day has passed. Our lives are that much less. We are like fish in a shrinking pond. What joy is there in this? We should be diligently and vigorously cultivating, as if our own heads were at stake. Only be mindful of impermanence, and be careful not to be lax. From beginningless eons in the past until now, we have not had good opportunity to know Buddhism, so we have not known how to cultivate. Therefore, we undergo birth and death, and after death, birth again. Oh, how pitiful! Today we have good opportunity to know Buddhism. Why do we still want to put off cultivating? Sincere Buddhists, time does not wait anybody. In the twinkling of an eye, we will be old and our life will be over. There are as many as 84,000 Dharma doors for cultivating the path. For the sake of understanding, we should be familiar with each one of these Dharma doors. You should not limit yourself in just a single method of cultivation. However, for the sake of practicing, we should focus on the Dharma door. That is the most appropriate for us. 2. Means correct our characters and obey the Buddha's teachings. 2. Means to study the law by reciting sutras in the morning and evening, being on strict vegetarian diet, and studying all the scriptures of the Buddha, keep all the precepts. However, the most important factors, in real, 2, are to correct your character, to eliminate bad habits, to be joyful and compassionate, to build virtue. In reciting sutras, one must thoroughly understand the meaning. Furthermore, one should also practice meditation on a daily basis to get insight. For lay people, 2, means to mend your ways from evil to wholesome, ceasing transgressions and performing good deeds. According to the first patriarch Bodhidharma, requite hatred is one of the 4 disciplinary processes. What is meant by how to requite hatred? Those who discipline themselves in the path should think thus when they have to struggle with adverse conditions. During the innumerable past eons, I have wandered through multiplicity of existences, never thought of cultivation, and thus creating infinite occasions for hate, ill will, and wrongdoing. Even though in this life I have committed no violations, the fruits of evil deeds in the past are to be gathered now. Neither gods nor men can foretell what is coming upon me. I will submit myself willingly and patiently to all the ills that befall me, and I will never bemoan or complain. In the sutra it is said not to worry over ills that may happen to you, because I thoroughly understand the law of cause and effect. This is called the conduct of making the best use of hatred and turn it into the service in one's advance towards the path. In the Dharmapada Sutra, the Buddha taught, he who applies himself to that which should be avoided, not cultivate what should be cultivated, forgets the good but goes after pleasure. It's only an empty admiration when he says he admires people who exert themselves in meditation. According to the 42-section sutra, one evening a Sramana was reciting the Sutra of Bequeathing, the teaching by Kasyapa Buddha. His mind was mournful as he reflected repentantly on his desire to retreat. The Buddha asked him, when you were a householder in the past, what did you do? He replied, I was fond of playing the lute. The Buddha said, what happened when the strings were slack? He replied, they did not sound good. The Buddha then asked, what happened when the strings were taut? He replied, the sounds were brief. The Buddha then asked again, what happened when they were tuned between slack and taut? He replied, the sounds carried. The Buddha said, it is the same with a Sramana who cultivates or studies the way. If his mind is harmonious, he can achieve the way. If he is impetuous about the way, this impetuousness will tire out his body, and if his body is tired, his mind will give rise to afflictions. If his mind produces afflictions, then he will retreat from his practice. If he retreats from his practice, it will certainly increase his offenses. You need only be pure, peaceful, and happy, and you will not lose the way. We can cultivate in charity the pitiable, or poor and needy, as the field or opportunity for charity. We can also cultivate the field of religion, and reverence of the Buddhas, the saints, the priesthood. We can also cultivate of happiness by doing offerings to those who are still in training in religion, or we can cultivate by making offerings to those who have completed their course. According to the commentary on the 10 stages of bodhisattvahood, there are 2 paths of cultivation. The first way is the difficult path. The difficult path refers to the practices of sentient beings in the world of the 5 turbidities, who through countless Buddha eras aspire to reach the stage of non-retrogression. The difficulties are truly countless, as numerous as specks of dust, or grains of sand, too numerous to imagine. However, there are basically 5 major kinds of difficulties. Externalists are legion, creating confusion with respect to the Bodhisattva Dharma. Evil beings destroy the practitioner's good and wholesome virtues. Worldly merits and blessings can easily lead the practitioner astray, so that he ceases to engage in virtuous practices. It is easy to stray onto the Arhat's path of self-benefit, which obstructs the mind of great loving-kindness and great compassion, and relying exclusively on self-power, without the aid of the Buddha's power, make cultivation very difficult and arduous. It is like the case of a feeble, handicapped person, walking alone, who can only go so far, each day regardless of how much effort he expends. The second way is the easy path. The easy path of cultivation means that, if sentient beings in this world believe in the Buddha's words, practice Buddha recitation, and vow to be reborn in the Pure Land, they are assisted by the Buddha's vow power, and assured of rebirth. This is similar to a person who floats downstream in a boat. Although the distance may be thousands of miles far away, his destination will be reached sooner or later. Similarly, a common being, relying on the power of a universal monarch or a deity, can traverse the 5 continents in a day and a night. This is not due to his own power, but, rather, to the power of the monarch. Some people, reasoning according to noumenon, or principle, may say that common beings, being conditioned, cannot be reborn in the Pure Land, or see the Buddha's body. The answer is that the virtues of Buddha recitation are unconditioned good roots. Ordinary, impure persons who develop the Bodhi mind, seek rebirth and constantly practice Buddha recitation, can subdue and destroy afflictions, achieve rebirth, and depending on their level of cultivation, obtain vision of the rudimentary aspects of the Buddha, the 32 marks of greatness, for example. Bodhisattvas, naturally, can achieve rebirth and see the subtle, loftier aspects of the Buddha, the Dharma body. There can be no doubt about this. Thus the Avatamsaka Sutra states, all the various Buddha lands are equally purely adorned. Because the karmic practices of sentient beings differ, their perceptions of these lands are different. According to Buddhist traditions, there are 2 modes, or values of observing commandments. First, prohibitive or restraining from evil. Second, constructive or constraining to goodness. According to Most Venerable Thich Thien Tam and the 13 Patriarchs of Pure Land Buddhism, Buddha recitation has 2 components, practice recitation and theory recitation. The application of harmonizing theory and practice. If cultivators are able to practice Buddha recitation in this way, and maintain it throughout their lives, then in the present life, they will attain the Buddha recitation samadhi, and upon death they will gain rebirth to the highest level, in the ultimate bliss world. The first way is the practice recitation. Reciting the Buddha name at the level of phenomenal level means believing that Amitabha Buddha exists in his Pure Land in the West, but not yet comprehending that he is a Buddha created by the mind, and that this mind is Buddha. It means you resolve to make vows and to seek birth in the Pure Land, like a child longing for its mother and never forgetting her for a moment. This is one of the 2 types of practices that Most Venerable Thich Thien Tam mentioned in the 13 Patriarchs of Pure Land Buddhism. Practice recitation means having faith that there is a Buddha named Amitabha in the west of this Saha world. The cultivators should be about the theory. Mind can become Buddha, and mind is Buddha. In this way, they practice Buddha recitation diligently and vigorously like children missing their mother, without a moment of discontinuity. Thereafter, sincerely vow and pray to gain rebirth in the ultimate bliss world. Practice recitation simply means people reciting Buddha's name without knowing the sutra, the doctrine, Mahayana, Hinayana teachings, or anything else. It is only necessary for them to listen to the teaching of a Dharma master that in the Western direction there is a world called ultimate bliss. In that world there are Amitabha Buddha, Avalokitesvara, Mahastamaprapta, and great ocean assembly of peaceful bodhisattvas. To regularly and diligently practice reciting Amitabha Buddha's name as many times as they possibly can, followed by reciting the three enlightened ones of Avalokitesvara, Mahastamaprapta, and great ocean assembly of peaceful bodhisattvas. Thereafter, sincerely and wholeheartedly vow and pray to gain rebirth in the pure land of ultimate bliss. After hearing the above teachings, practitioners should maintain and cultivate as they were taught, making vows to pray for rebirth in the ultimate bliss world for the remainder of their lives, to their last bath, and even after they have passed away, they continue to remember to recite Buddha's name without forgetting. This is called practice recitation. Cultivators are guaranteed to gain rebirth in the ultimate bliss world. The second method is the theory recitation. This is one of the two types of practices that Most Venerable Thich Thien Tam mentioned in the 13 Patriarchs of Pure Land Buddhism. Theory recitation is to have faith that Amitabha Buddha in the Western direction is pre-existing and is an inherent nature within everyone because Buddha arises from within cultivator's mind. Thereafter, the cultivators use the virtuous name, already complete within their minds, to establish a condition to tame the mind and influence it to never ever forget to recite the Buddha name. Theory recitation also means the people reciting Buddha are individuals who learn and examine the sutra teachings, clearly knowing different traditions, doctrines, and deepest and most profound Dharma teachings. Generally speaking, they are well-versed, knowledgeable, and understand clearly the Buddha's theoretical teachings, such as the mind creates all 10 realms of the 4 saints, and the 6 unenlightened. Amitabha Buddha and Buddhas in the 10 directions are manifested within the mind. This extends to other external realities, such as heaven, hell, or whatever. All are the manifestations within the mind. The virtuous name of Amitabha Buddha is a recitation that already encompasses all the infinite virtues and merits accumulated through the vow power of Amitabha Buddha. Use the one recitation of Namo Amitabha Buddha as a rope and a single condition to get hold of the monkey mind and horse thoughts, so it can no longer wander but remain undisturbed and quiescent. At minimum, this will allow the cultivator to have a meditative mind during the ritual, or at least for several minutes of that time, never forgetting to maintain that recitation, vowing to gain rebirth. Also, according to Buddhist traditions, there are 3 sources of cultivation. The first method is the cultivation of compassion and pity. The second method is the cultivation of patience. The third method is the cultivation of emptiness or unreality of all things. Everything is being dependent on something else and having no individual existence apart from other things, hence the illusory nature of all things, as being composed of elements, and not possessing reality. For lay people, the Buddha always reminded about the 3 means to cultivate or practice Buddha Dharma in their daily activities. First, to control one's body for not doing bad deeds. Second, to control one's mouth for not speaking vain talk or harsh speech. Third, to control one's mind for not wandering with unwholesome karma. For the hearers, there are also 3 ways of cultivation. These are also 3 ways of discipline of Sravaka. These 3 trainings are the 3 inseparable aspects for any cultivators. The 3 universal characteristics. Existence is universally characterized by impermanence, suffering, and not self. 3 methods according to the Mahayana Buddhism. First, practice on the impermanence, no realization of the eternal, seeing everything as ever-changing and transient. Second, practice on suffering, joyless, through only contemplating misery, and not realizing the ultimate nirvana joy. Third, practice on non-self, non-ego discipline, seeing only the perishing self, and not realizing the immortal self. While according to the Theravada Buddhism, 3 ways to enlightenment are Sila Samdhi Prajna. First, keeping the precepts, or training in moral discipline, by avoiding karmically unwholesome activities, cultivating ethical conduct. Second, mental discipline, or training the mind in concentration, or practicing concentration of the mind. Third, wisdom or prajna, meaning always acting wisely, or training in wisdom, the development of prajna through insight into the truth of Buddhism. These are also the 3 studies, or endeavors of the non-outflow, or the those who have passionless life and escape from transmigration. In Buddhism, there is no so-called cultivation without discipline, and also there is no dharma without discipline. Precepts are considered as cages to capture the thieves of greed, anger, stupidity, pride, doubt, wrong views, killing, stealing, lust, and lying. In the same manner with keeping precepts, in Buddhism, there is no so-called cultivation without concentration, or training the mind. The resulting wisdom, or training in wisdom. If you want to get rid of greed, anger, and ignorance, you have no choice but cultivating discipline and samadhi so that you can obtain wisdom paramita. With wisdom paramita, you can destroy these thieves and terminate all afflictions. It is traditional for Buddhists to honor the Buddha, to respect the Sangha, and to pay homage to the religious objects of veneration such as the relics of the Buddha, Buddha images, monastery, pagoda, and personal articles used by the Buddha. However, Buddhists never pray to idols. The worship of the Buddha, ancestors, and deceased parents are encouraged. However, the word worship itself is not appropriate from the Buddhist point of view. The term pay homage should be more appropriate. Buddhists do not blindly worship these objects and forget their main goal is to practice. Buddhists kneel before the image of the Buddha to pay respect to what the image represents and promise to try to achieve what the Buddha already achieved 25 centuries ago, not to seek worldly favors from the image. Buddhists pay homage to the image, not because they are fear of the Buddha, nor do they supplicate for worldly gain. The most important aspect in Buddhism is to put into practice the teaching given by the Buddha. The Buddha always reminded his disciples that Buddhists should not depend on others, not even on the Buddha himself, for their salvation. During the Buddha's time, so many disciples admired the beauty of the Buddha, so the Buddha also reminded his disciples saying, "You cannot see the Buddha by watching the physical body. Those who see my teaching see me." Some people believe that they should wait until after their retirement to cultivate, because after retirement they will have more free time. Those people may not understand the real meaning of the word cultivation. That is the reason why they want to wait until after retirement to cultivate. According to Buddhism, cultivation means to turn bad things into good things, or to improve your body and mind. So, when can we turn bad things into good things, or when can we improve our body and mind? Ancient virtues taught, do not wait until you are thirsty to dig a well, or don't wait until the horse is on the edge of the cliff to draw in the reins for it's too late, or don't wait until the boat is in the middle of the river to patch the leaks for it's too late, and so on. Most of us have the same problem of waiting and delaying of doing things. If we wait until the water reaches our navel to jump, it's too late. No way we can escape the drown if we don't know how to swim. In the same way, at ordinary times, we don't care about proper or improper acts, but wait until after retirement or near death to start caring about our actions. We may never have that chance. Sincere Buddhists, especially lay people, should always remember that impermanence and death never wait for anybody. So, take advantage of whatever time we have at the present time to cultivate, to plant good roots and to accumulate merits and virtues.